And welcome into another episode of the WestsLife podcast. I'm your host, Josh Barnett. We are sponsored by Holman Barnes Group, which includes West Ashfield League, the best place to watch the game on Saturday live and loud, unless you're heading to Accor Stadium itself, which as and I will, and I think our special guest is heading there to watch his beloved Bunnies as well. We'll get to him in just a second. At WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, please give us a follow on there. And in our profile, you will find our Linktree link, so a link to all our stuff, including our Patreon, patreon.com/WestsLife. And shouts to everyone tuning in on our YouTube channel. Please, while you're there, give us a like, subscribe, turn notifications on, help the algorithm, all that nerdy stuff, and help spread the show. Tell your friends. All that coming off the back of 2 wins. Very excited. West Tigers fans tonight and previewing. Look, not to get a few segments early, we've all tipped our opposition tonight, but you never know. You never know. So let's go. Mr. Bashara, how are you on this Wednesday evening?
Good evening, Josh. G'day, Matt. G'day, Aaron. Listeners, viewers, how are we all? I'm feeling great. Had a very good day today. A little bit cold, but got something long on tonight and just snuggling in, ready to do the preview.
And hello, Mr. Thompson. How are you coming in from Sydney's inner west? How are you this evening?
I think he's talking to you. No. I'm all right. Great start for me. Technical difficulties. I got kicked out of the stream before we went live, so that's boding well for tonight. But we'll see how we go. I'm not too bad. I'm just having a nice, relaxing afternoon. Hopefully, looking forward to another good round of footy, another good Tigers performance. A win would be great, though. A win would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And our special guest this evening, not just sucking up when I say this, he's from my favorite NRL podcast in the world, the NRL Boom Rookies. And welcome to a huge South fan in Mr. Matt Bungard. How are you going tonight, Matt?
Josh, thanks for having me, boys. I'm good, feeling good. Wednesday was the day last year after Magic Round that I got extremely sick for about a week and a half. So I'm feeling good, which means I think I've probably beaten the Magic Round flu for the year. So I'm stoked about that. Although watch this space if I wake up tomorrow morning feeling like death.
How was Magic Round, by the way? Very envious of everyone in the Boom Rookies Discord talking about that. Looks like a hell of a trip getting up there.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, I think it just gets better every year. Really, I think this one was the best one so far. I mean, the on-field product. I mean, there was a lot of blowouts, so from that point of view, it wasn't great. But just seeing a lot of people that we from sort of like online rugby league communities and things like that, as well as just catching up with like my actual good mates who I stayed with. It was all just fantastic. Just a great 3.5 days. So I would encourage anybody listening, if you get the chance to go next year, just go, because it really is becoming the biggest weekend on the rugby league calendar, in my opinion, if it's not there already.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I mean, I obviously flew up to Brisbane for the West Tigers getting smashed by the Broncos, and I did check out Caxton Street after, because that's what you do when you go up there. It was my first visit to Suncorp, but I could only imagine they had the street blocked off for a West Tigers game. I could only imagine what Caxton Street is like for Magic Round. Like,
it's buzzing from the middle of the afternoon on Friday all the way through to Sunday night, basically. So yeah, next year, if you can, mate, come up, because it's fantastic.
Yeah, I wish it was school holidays. That would help me out a little bit. But look, yeah, absolutely. I'll as soon as the draw comes out, try and make room for it. As I said, you're from NRL Boom Rookies. You guys are all the podcast places, same places you're probably listening to our podcast right now. Go look for the Boom Rookies, NRL Boom Rookies, now owned by ESPN, which you also write for as well. So check out Matt's stuff on espn.com.au, I guess, where they find your stuff. Also, speaking of friends of the show, West Ashfield. So get along on Saturday to watch the Rabbitohs. Can the Tigers keep their winning streak alive at Accor Stadium? Show your support from the home of West Tigers at West Ashfield. Grab a schooner of your favourite tap beer from just $6 with cheesy, delicious pizzas from the Garden Bistro. all season long. You can watch all the games live and loud at West Ashfield, owned by Holman Barnes Group. For more information, visit holmanbarnesgroup.com.au. Holman Barnes Group, bringing people together. Ever been to West Ashfield before, Matt?
I can't say I have. I think closest I would have gone would be sort of that big club that's in Lidcombe, because we used to park at Lidcombe before we'd go to games at ANZ. But I mean, you made it sound so appealing. Maybe I'll just skip the game entirely and post up at West Ashfield instead.
Yeah, don't go to Doolies. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yep.
Bit of news, not huge news, but the Tigers. I saw this was literally only on Zero Tackle. They signed a young Bulldogs halfback, which I basically put a graphic over his head. Iverson Matai, a young guy, he's playing for our Jersey Flegg this week, and he joined us from the Bulldogs. Yeah, obviously, instantly. Does anyone have any information on young Iverson? It's a cool name. I wonder if he's
wonder who he was named after.
Yeah, I was trying to think of another Iverson other than Allen. I can't think of any. And then the Stefano, just a little SMH quote article. Stefano mentioned that he would like to be the next West Tigers captain after Appy, possibly. Rob, how would you feel about Stefano being the skipper in a couple of years' time?
Well, if he leads by example on the field and he's, a good talkative captain, I guess why not? But I mean, he'd probably have to up his minutes on what he's doing at the moment, because he's really only getting sort of 25-minute stints, twice in a game. So I don't know if 50 minutes is long enough to be on the field to be a captain these days.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, if that means he's going to stay with us for the rest of his career or a long time, then so be it. But yeah, not much West Tigers news in the last 48 hours before we last were on air. So we'll get on to the team list for Saturday afternoon's game, which kicks off at 3 p.m. or 3:05 p.m. I should have looked at that.
I think it's just 3.
It's 3. It's bang on 3. Sometimes they throw in a weird non on the hour time. Fullback Dream Buller. Look, this team list is exactly the same as last week, as we were expecting, apart from obviously John Bateman, but I'll go through it again. Dream Buller at fullback, David Nofaluma and Junior Tupou on the wing, Stafford Toa and Tommy Talau in the centres, halves of Brandon Wakeham and Luke Brooks, front row, Stefano Utoi Kamanu, David Clemmer, Api Coruscant, captain, and hooker 9, Isaiah Papali'i and John Bateman has been cleared to play, so he will play. As I said, he was a late exclusion with the hammy pull, but he's been cleared today. So Fanua Pole at lock, and then the bench, Jake Simpkin, Joel Fangawi, Alex Twal, and Kepa Owa goes back to the bench, and poor old Alex Seyfarth has been pushed to 18th man. Matamua Blore, Laurie, and Tristan Riley are the extended bench there. Matt, of this, I think I know what the answer is going to be, but of our squad there, what player would you say could be a bit of an X factor for us and give your guys a bit of worry?
I'm excited to just see the two best fullbacks in the game right now going head-to-head this Saturday in Latrell Mitchell and my new favourite player, Jareem Buller. I was there for his debut a couple of weeks ago at Campbelltown. I just like to go as many games as I can when I'm not working otherwise. And, I always love going to Campbelltown. Went to school out there. All my sports carnivals are out there. So I always had a massive soft spot for the Tigers anyway. But yeah, he was great, I thought, in that Manly game. Couple of rough moments, but overall I thought he was fantastic. His energy and his input was great. And then the past 2 weeks, he's just been absolutely sensational, right down to that try saver that won you guys the game at the end at Magic Round. But yeah, obviously I'm being a bit cheeky saying he's in the top 2 fullbacks in the NRL, but so far he's been an absolute excitement machine in his first 3 games. And I really hope he can continue that. But I think overall, the main thing that worries me from a South point of view at the moment is just how good the Tigers forward pack has been in the last couple of weeks. I think they've really identified that simplicity might be better at the moment. And it's quite interesting to think about the great Tim Sheen sides of the past. They were these swashbuckling, enterprising teams, but they've really peeled it all back in the last couple of weeks. They're not getting Luke Brooks to overplay his hand. They're making fewer errors. They're just getting through their sets. And these big name forwards that they signed in the offseason are all really picked up their game in the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, I think if the Tigers are to win this game, it's because David Clemmer, Isaiah Papali'i, and Api Coruscant all have stormers. And I think all three of those blokes, as well as a couple of the other guys, including Utsuka Manu, have been playing fantastically well in the last couple of weeks. And it is definitely a shame from our point of view that John Bateman's overcome that leg injury to be able to play. So, yeah, I think it's just a much different prospect than it was 2 weeks ago. I think that Campo said this on our show yesterday, but, people talk about losing being a habit and how you can get out of a rut, but winning becomes a habit as well. And now you guys have won 2 in a row, and suddenly you're not trudging into this game expecting another big loss. You're sort of going in there cautiously optimistic, dare I say.
Yeah. And obviously, don't want to bring up old wounds, but we did get it done last year. You were one of just 4 wins that we had last year. I know you do always bring up the what season was it that we were 2 out of 3 wins were the West Tigers.
2003. South won 3 games in the entire year, and 2 of them were against the West Tigers.
Yeah, the South, for whatever reason, it's always been kind of weird matchups between the two. It's a weird story. I don't think I've ever told this story on this show. So my year 5 teacher was a massive Bunnies fan, and this was year 5 for me was 1998. So this is I didn't have Foxtel or anything. So basically, the way I found out the score, this is how old I am, was watching Wide World of Sports with I think it was Max Walker was running it then. But I saw the score came up that we'd lost to you by 2, and I literally was crying and saying to my parents, I don't want to go to school on Monday. I think I'm going to throw up. So I think that's emotionally scarred me. So every time we play you guys, it's just I really, really want to win. Yeah. Nothing more than, and then I went to school on the Monday, and my teacher, I was a 9-10-year-old child, so he didn't really stick it to me that much. But that's just my random South v Tigers story. As back to rugby league stuff that actually matters from that team, who do you want to see have a more outstanding game this week from our squad?
My focus this week is going to be on the halves. We've seen them starting to gel a little bit more over the last couple games. They had really good. I'd say Brooks had the better individual performance in the Panthers win. Wakeham had the better individual performance in the Dragons win. So I'd like to see them both really click together and get that combination firing on all cylinders. Because on top of the forward pack and the new signings, like Matt said, as well as them having to perform well, if our halves perform well, I think that gives us a shot too.
All right, we'll move on to another friend in Mobile Corp. So shouts to Steve. They've sent me a few new bits and bobs for Mobile Corp now. So not the same ad we've been running with for them all year. He has said Mobile Corp supports local businesses by managing their IT, their networks, and their mobile devices. If you're a local business owner looking for a partner who will take away the hassle of dealing with IT issues and make sure you have cybersecurity in place and handle all your mobile device needs, then Mobile Corp can help. Mobile Corp is a family-run business and a long-time supporter of the West Tigers. Reach out to Stephen and the team at Mobile Corp. Check out mobilecorp.com.au. That's mobile corp.com.au. He's spelled out CORP, just in case you don't know how to say the first syllable of the word corporation, I guess. Matt, the MLC, so Mobile Corp, they used to be MLC phones. I think you're only a couple of years younger than me. Do you remember the MLC phones Tigers from the mid-90s?
I remember the logo. That's about it. It was the big was it the big gold thing? Was that their logo? I can't remember.
MLC no, it's Black Writing. You guys always mention.
Oh wait, is this different? Is this a different MLC to the superannuation company?
Yeah, MLC phone. Remember in the mid-90s?
That is. I am thinking of the gold egg, which is the MLC superannuation logo.
Oh, I do remember those ads. I do remember those ads. Yeah.
In that,
I know you guys always mention. You guys always mention the Balmain sponsor computers.
Computers.
Actually, Rob, you're old enough. what year was that? Do you remember when Balmain had computers on their jersey?
Was it 87 maybe, or I don't know. I can't remember.
Can you answer, because why was it a company or something? Why did we just have computers on our jersey?
I actually think that the company's name is on the front and the word computers is on the back, and it's the same sponsor, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so they like split the name up of the company.
I think that was my understanding of it, because otherwise it would be bizarre. Yeah, that's right. It said the comments are saying it. Yeah, it said Alpha Micro on the front, and then on the back it said, and then it just said computers on the back.
Okay.
Which was always my understanding of it, but it's just funny that it just had the word computers on the back of the jersey and nothing else.
Even the word computer, like it's just it reminds me of like growing up in the 90s. I'm going to go on to the computer. Like it just seems like such an old word to say. You don't really say it anymore. Rabbitohs team list. A guy named Latrell Mitchell at fullback. He's playing pretty well lately. Alex Johnson on one wing. Our old friend Tane Milne on the other. Isaiah Tass and Campbell Graham in the centres. Cody Walker and I guess you can call him an old friend. Lachlan Ilias, an old junior friend. Tavita Totola. Totola's the ex-Tiger as well. Yeah, our Tigers junior. Yeah, another old man. You got some old friends in here. Damien Cook at hooker. How do I pronounce it? Hami Saley.
Yeah,
Harm Saley. Another old friend in Michael Cheekham. An old friend who literally scored a game winner against the Rabbitohs just a few years. I was at Combank that night. It was a great night.
I was there too. That was great fun.
Yeah, Jacob Host and is with him in the back row. Cameron Murray, one of the I can't say enough good things about Cam Murray. I love watching him play when he's playing for the Blues, and just possibly the best tackler I've seen in all the years I've watched rugby league. Just unbelievable. Bench Jai, Arrow, Jed Cartwright, Liam Knight, and Thomas Burgess. Rob, man, that's a hell of a team. You just read out the squad, and it's just like, how is it? There's barely a weakness there. Maybe our old friend Michael Cheekham, but I don't want to diss Cheekham because I do like him. But like, my God, it's an uphill battle on Saturday.
It certainly is. Well, look, firstly, starting from the top, Latrell Mitchell at his peak, he's the best player in the game as far as I'm concerned. When he's at his peak, he can do things no one else can do. So you've got Latrell Mitchell, you've got Campbell Graham in rare air at the moment. Cody Walker's been my favourite non-Tigers player for years, even though I'll probably hate him during the game because he gets under other players' skins. But when I'm watching him as a neutral observer, I love watching him play. Cameron Murray's got that quick play the ball. And then I look at that bench. That is just a power-packed all-forward bench.
Insane.
I don't think Damien Cook's going great, to be honest. But, I mean, off the back of quick play the balls, he will. So, look, they're just a well-balanced team. But I think the thing with South this year, as opposed to previous years, their defence looks rock solid. If there is a chink, it might be with Ilias and Cheekham. So I'm really pinning my hopes on Isaiah Papali'i doing a little bit of damage there. Other than that, I really don't know where the points are going to come from. But we certainly can't play that oversimplistic style where we just, play for 30 minutes and hope to hang on to a lead, for the next 50. We've got to play football for 80 minutes, and I hope that'll be the case this week.
Matt, I know you've mentioned on your show a fair bit. Luke Brooks seems to play some of his best games against you guys for whatever reason. Maybe that match up with Ilias could be interesting.
Yeah, the two best young halfbacks in the game, obviously. So it'll be great to see them go head to head. It is weird. Yeah, there was this weird period where like you guys as a team weren't particularly well, but literally every single time we played you, Brooksy and Mitch Moses would dominate and be the two best players in the field, much to my frustration. And I've always liked Luke Brooks, and I like to see him do well. But yeah, it's going to be really hard for you guys to get on the front foot in this game and to give him sort of any sort of space. I mean, to have, like, obviously it's by design at this point with the way that Jason Demetriou uses his bench rotation, and that the whole thing is just that Thomas Burgess is probably the best middle in the team aside from Cameron Murray, but they leave him an hour on the bench so they can come on in those sort of middle periods and absolutely dominate. And you can only do that if you have starting guys who are competent enough to hold their own against anyone. And Tavita Totola and Harm Saleh fit that bill perfectly. I think Sele would be in the top 2 or 3 middles on most teams. I think he's probably the 5th best on this team. So, yeah, with the way that's been going lately, and just how on top Souths have been in field battles against every team they've played, it's going to be difficult to see Brooksy getting a lot of ball with space to do things with it. But I do agree with Rob. I don't think they can just try and match South set for set, going one out through the middle. They do need to just chance their arm and go for it, because worst thing that happens is you lose spectacularly. But if you try and outgrind South at the moment with the way those forwards are playing, I think it's going to be death by 1,000 cuts. And I do think they do need to push the ball around a little bit more and just hope for the best.
Randomizer Inc. on YouTube says pray for Talau. Yeah, those center matchup. What center will be his opposite? Would be Campbell Graham.
Campbell Graham, yeah.
As how the hell is Tommy Talau going to stop Campbell Graham?
I honestly don't think he can. Campbell Graham's good for a try in most of the games he's played so far, and I honestly reckon he's probably going to be good enough for a potential double, at least this week. My thoughts on how to beat Souths, and I think I mentioned it in the Discord earlier this week, is you've got to try and get Latrell and Cody Walker frustrated, and because that gets them off their game. Once they're off their game, there are some chinks in the armor. They give away some dumb penalties, and that's sort of what you've got to do to kind of get the edge over those two. I'm a little bit confused about why Latrell's even playing this week, because after what appeared to be a bit of a grubby hit on Harry Grant, I think it was, when Harry Grant was tackling him. So like he had the ball and he kind of lashed out at Harry after that. And there wasn't even a penalty, but I thought at least the match review would take a look at it, and because it looked like he swung at him. So
I absolutely thought it should have been a penalty and a sin bin. 100%.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why it wasn't, but I don't think I probably don't think he would have been suspended for it anyway. I think it was, but I think in that match, in that moment, he definitely should have gone for 10, and I still don't really understand why he didn't.
I thought a suspension may have been a possibility because of his priors. Like we know Latrell's got a lot of priors for lashing out. Like he obviously, I think it was, what was it, 2020, the year they lost, or 2021, the year they lost the grand final to Penrith. He
21
uppercut Manu late in the season.
Yeah. And the shot on Noffa as well.
And the shot on Noffa, yeah. Was that the same year?
I think it was the same year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
because the last 3
years.
He also had
last
2
3
goes
seasons
at
blur,
Ghana that season.
I will defend the Ghana thing. He was in the right.
Well, not the one where he dove in at Ghana in the end goal. He dove in with the leading with the knees at Ghana in the end goal.
We also had the weirdest
He wasn't
games
right with the lashing out with the foot either. Don't give me that.
Yeah, no, that one was fine, I thought. But yeah, I do agree that he should have been off the field last week. I'm not really sure why it doesn't. And the problem is, like, there's obviously a lot of bad faith people who watch this sport that don't like Latrell Mitchell for reasons outside of rugby league. And I think instances like that where referees are leading on, it does give them extra ammunition, which is unfortunate, I think, for everybody. So yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah, I just want to specify that my thoughts about Latrell in that regard are not related to.
Of course, no, totally was not accusing you of that. It's just, I think it's just a shame.
I've got a few matchups I thought I'd bring up. Previous matchups between the two clubs. So you guys have got the last 5 of 6 on us. That field goal win. Yeah, literally the only win we've had in the last 5. There was like a weird period there, 4 wins in a row, 15, and then a couple in 16, and then 17 as well. It seems like we always play you at Homebush, apart from the few stints at Western Sydney as well. But any of those stand out for you, Matt, that strike a bit of memory for you?
Yeah, like, so it's weird, right? Because our two teams do have a ton of memorable games against each other, but like they were all kind of just before this chunk of games. Like you had that 30-30 game that ended with a try in the 90th minute off the most forward pass I've ever seen in my life. You had the Nathan Merritt, Merritt field goal
SCG.
game. You had
that.
And apart from
the English field goal.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
the pass, that was Reece Wesser.
Reece Wesser, he threw it about 15 meters forward. And of course you had, and the bizarre thing of that game was South were 30-12 down, I think, and came back to make it 30 all and then win a golden point. And then but the only one on this list that really stands out is last year's crazy game. I don't think we'll ever see a game end like that again, where we know the game's going to end with a try at one end or the other. We just don't know until we see a replay which end it's going to be at. So yeah, there's been a ton of just weird games between the Rabbitohs and the Tigers in the past. I'm hoping for my sanity's sake that this weekend is not one of them.
That was 2021, wasn't it?
Which one?
The fingertip.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
on the ball.
the Tom Burgess, yeah, sorry, 2021.
I only
game,
said
yeah.
that because I read it on the screen, but yeah,
Yes,
I was going to
apologies.
mention that one too. Was that do you think Burgess scored that one?
Live? Of course not.
Yeah.
But once I saw the replay, he barely kept his hand on it, so I think it was fine once I saw the replay. But when I saw it live, I thought we've just lost in the most ridiculous way possible.
Yeah,
but
we were all cheering.
The thing about that one was with the two bunker camera angles, one of them looked like he had grounded it, the other looked like he had butchered it. So it was one of those ones where it was really tough to tell what was going to happen.
And from memory, we only got to golden point because Adam Reynolds kicked a 40-meter field goal with like a minute left as well. So it's just a bizarre game. So yeah,
it would have been one of the first 40-meter field goals that we had.
Yeah,
in the comp.
I think it would have
been. It was.
It
might have been the
missed
first
the penalty goal to hit the lead.
Yeah, he did. He missed the penalty. That's right. And then
Adam
of course
Dewey was sledging him during the kick.
Yeah, and of course the other one on here that you guys won, that Cheekham game. I was there as well as you guys all were, as you said before. And just so many weird games between the two of us in the past.
Because the Cheekham one happened the same year that he did it to.
He did it twice within 3 weeks.
Yeah. Because I was, what year was it? 2019.
Yeah, 2019
in June. Yeah, because I was.
What about that?
In America.
What about the round 19 2018 one? I remember that one quite vividly. That was I think that was our last home game at
that was Olympic
Australia.
Yeah,
yeah, because it was I think who was the Rabbits player who was playing a milestone?
John Sutton.
Sutton, that's it. It was Sutton's 300th.
That's
and
right.
it was
Robbie's
250th for the Tigers. And that was pretty fiery. Rabbits were, I think, right up at the top of the ladder. We were fairly low to mid. And we ended up keeping them scoreless until I think it was like the 72nd minute when we had a player off the field or something along those lines. So I remember that one quite well as well. Yep. That one, I think included a Corey Thompson intercept and length of the field try.
I do remember that.
And then I think
Robbie got that day as well.
That first round of 2017 as well, when GI did his knee and scored that try on one leg on halftime, and that was basically the only good thing that happened to South that day. So yeah,
that's right. Yeah, Brooks. That
was the opener.
Brooks,
the opening round. Yeah, he did. He really did.
Tedesco threw up over the sideline. I remember that too.
Right, New South Wales Cup. So that's at 12:40. So we are playing the Rabbitohs in that one too. So you get 2 games for your entry on Saturday afternoon. My guy Sean Bloor just can't crack it back in the first grade. He's in the back row there. Rules at hooker. Anyone else there, boys, to look out for? Obviously Dane Laurie has been moved back to fullback, so he's not in the halves anymore. Will Smith's in the halves. Anyone for your guys? Matt,
Kiora a new signing or
whereabouts?
Centre.
Yeah, I haven't seen that name before. I'm not too sure. Is Ben Lovett any relation to Kyle Lovett?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
It's anyone in your cup team that's up and coming or anything?
Not really, but I dare say we're going to have to be NRL audiences will be more familiar with guys like Peter Mamazoulos, Isaac Thompson, probably Blake Taft later in the year when a bunch of guys get taken out of the team for Origin. But yeah, it's just amazing that Buddy Gordon's still there. I was there when he debuted in, I think, 2004 or something. It's actually a great story. Like he was a guy that was basically lost to the game. He's one of those classic dudes that never really lived up to his potential. But then he came back into the Souths fold, I think in 2018 or 19, after just bouncing around a bunch of random New South Wales Cup teams. And he's just been sort of a mainstay in that Cup team ever since. I think he debuted as a centre in like 04 or 05. And
how old is he now?
36 or 37, it'd be something like that. He rebranded as like a back rower later in his career. Obviously doesn't have the pace to play out wide now. But it'd be amazing if he somehow got one more first grade game. I don't know what the record is for gap between gap between NRL games, but he last played in the NRL in 2011. So that'd be really cool if, due to Origins or something else, he got one game towards the end of the year.
Nice.
I'm sure the Tigers have pulled someone out of the Ashes.
We might give him a 5-year contract, Josh.
Jason D said Elaine Gordon. He mentioned,
that's
as
him.
well.
Yeah.
Does he still play?
Yeah.
Jersey Flag. They're playing at Mascot Oval on Sunday afternoon, so 3:00 in that one. Is that not far from you?
That's literally 300 meters away. So
yeah, nice. I like it with your cup too that you're not the Bears anymore. That you're actually
me too. Maybe I haven't gone to a game there this year yet. Maybe I'll walk down and have a watch on Sunday, Arvo.
Righto, Robstradmous time. You like a bit of a punt, Matt, from time to time on the rugby league?
Not nearly as much as some of the other people that we know, but just maybe a couple try-minute spreads every weekend. But certainly not to the extent that a lot of our friends do.
Yeah. Well, Rob certainly does. He's given 2 tips this year to back Golden Point and he's backed both of them already. So we call him Robstradmous. What have you got for us this week?
You won't be after last week, Josh. I got 1 out of 3 with the try scorers. I got a little bit unlucky with a couple of them. Look, I've gone a little bit of a mixed bag. I actually do think there are so many potential close games this week that we could get a Golden Point game, but I didn't want to single one out because there's literally 5 that I think would go to Golden Point. That's how tight some of the games are, in my opinion. I've just gone a couple of simple ones. So I thought Melbourne and Brisbane, I feel like that's going to be a low-scoring game. I think Melbourne were quite poor last week. Bellamy teams don't defend like that 2 weeks in a row, so I'm expecting them to be fired up. I think they've beaten Brisbane something like 12 times in a row, even though I've tipped Brisbane. So I just think that'll be a tight game. And both Penrith and the Roosters, they get pretty down and dirty, and I don't think there'll be many points in those games. Certainly the Roosters haven't scored many points the last couple of weeks, nor have Penrith. So I figure if you put both of those games under 40.5, you'll get about $3. And then just to keep an interest in our own game, I've gone a same game multi. As I said, I think Isaiah Papali'i is probably our best chance to score a try if we get a try. And I'm hoping down that Ilias side of the field with Cheekham. And I've actually gone Ilias to score a try because, as Aaron said, I think if Tommy Talau defends like he did last week, I really think Graham can do a number on him. And I can just see Graham making a break and turning it back on the inside to Ilias and scoring a try. So I just thought that those are pretty good odds, just those 2 try scorers alone. That'll get you $20 if you back those. But look, like I say, I've put about 10 minutes work into it. So gamble responsibly. You don't even have a bet, to be honest. But just something to watch the game with and have a bit of fun with.
Any tips or anything, Matt? Be it rugby league or anything?
I like the Graham bet quite a lot. And I also think that, respectfully, if this game does get away from the Tigers towards the end, one thing Souths are great at is feeding Alex Johnson in those situations. So could back him to get 2 or more, or something like that. Yeah, well, mate, they're the best at it. So, I mean, we'll all remember that Roosters game where Corey Allen was over the try line and threw the
under
ball back
7 style,
so, yeah. So, if the game does sort of get blowout towards the end, as some people might think, then I think that might be one to look at.
He's at the point now where it's like $1.30 or something.
Oh, mate, never back him for like 1. It's just pointless, isn't it? Maybe last try or something like that. I don't know.
He's like always between $5 and $6 to get 2, which is really good odds.
On to our tips in the other games. How's it? I only got 5 out of 8 last week, but I actually somehow moved up on the ESPN ranking. So we do our tips. You'd be happy to know, Matt. We use the ESPN app for our tipping comp. You guys have, there's 400, I say you, like you run it, 424,954 people in the whole tipping comp. I'm 11th.
That's incredible.
I can't believe it. I was
about to say you're smoking these guys, but it turns out you're smoking everybody. So.
Yeah, I'm one. So I'm just opening it now. I am one off the lead. There's 2 people on 59. Yeah, I don't know how, but not tipping the Tigers.
Do you get anything if you come first?
I don't know. I thought you might
do.
be able to answer that.
I'm sure you do.
I mean, coming first, I don't know. I mean, I'm a better
You're gonna get
chance than
something for
someone.
beating 500,000 people. Sure.
Yeah, it's insane.
Mm.
So there's a West Tigers one for West Tigers fans that I just joined. I'm 2 ahead of second in that one, and then our little Patreon one. There's 28 of us in that. I'm 8 ahead of second. So I don't know how, but I wish I had money. I wonder if I had to put $1 on every single tip, like how much in front I'd be. But anyway, enough bragging from me. Broncos Storm. So Rob, you and I have gone the Bronx in this one. Az has gone Storm. Az, why have you gone Melbourne?
Yeah, there are just so many toss of a coin games this round, and I think this is one of them. I think I really took into account the Storm's record against the Broncos. They just can't seem to get it done. Storm also have home field advantage, and Bellamy's definitely going to blow a rocket up their asses after they got beat by Souths last week. So I feel Storm are not necessarily a safe bet, but the funny thing is, on the sports bet odds, they were last time I checked, they're favourites.
Yeah, $1.71.
And I think that might be due to the record, due to the home field advantage.
They're at home, yeah.
No,
but
as I said,
that,
won 12 in a row. They won 12 in a row against Brisbane. That's
the Broncos have beaten the Storm twice in the past decade. So, yeah.
But when I did my tips on the ESPN app, I think I saw something like 60% have tipped the Broncos. So they're favourites from a betting standpoint. But they are, it's now 69% have tipped the Broncos, 31% have tipped Storm. So, yeah,
it's almost silly.
It's
almost silly for me. I should zig when everyone's zagging, maybe.
No, you should just keep doing what you're doing, mate.
I literally just do it. I'll be honest. I do my tips. I got because
you don't need to. You don't need to change up your strategy in any way. You need to just keep tipping.
I literally get a dart, throw it at the dart. No, I don't know. I didn't think, like Homer says, I didn't think. I just acted.
Yeah.
Warriors v Doggies. We've all gone the Warriors in this one, though. Yeah, the betting's close in this one too. $2 and for the Doggies and $1.80. I don't know. The Doggies just seem to be lacking that little bit of firepower, but I don't know. At home, man, this is another toss of the coin. I have no confidence in the Warriors definitely winning this one. Anyone got any?
No, another tight game, Josh. Carr's back for Canterbury this week, but like it's only a winger. But I like how Canterbury have been playing, even though they kind of got off on the wrong foot last week against Canberra. But as we said with the earlier game, I just think this could go either way. But I picked the Warriors.
That's at Homebush. Two games at Homebush back to back nights. So. I mean, it's not like they're playing 8 games in a row there. I think the field will be all right. Sorry, Matt, were you going to say something on this one?
Oh, I was going to say, I'll go against the boys. I'll take the Dogs on this one.
Yeah, I didn't know Accor was back. If I had so I don't research my tips. That's the funny thing is that I literally just
what are you doing?
I just go tick 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 tick.
I do the same as you, Josh. I'm not even in a money comp, so I do my tips in about 40 seconds. But obviously, I looked at the teams anyway, regardless. Super coach purposes.
When I was a kid, I used to do like, what animal would win in a fight? Panthers, speaking of which, I don't think a rooster would beat a panther in a fight. That's why I tipped Penrith for this one. No, I tipped because they're at home. Panthers at home. If Panthers are playing at home, I think you can't tip against them.
The Roosters' attack is an absolute mess right now. I'm mildly surprised that Trent Robinson hasn't changed anything. The only change is Angus Crichton starting on that edge. But surprising to me that they're still staying away from bringing Sam Walker back and sticking with this halves combination, which is very clearly not working right now.
Agreed.
These are my two bet
this year.
Too.
They really have.
These are my 200 to 1 bet R teams for this year. So,
I forgot about that. I didn't pick Souths because of the emotional hedge. I took Storm, Roosters, and Penrith because I was like, well, Souths win. That means more to me than $1,000 anyway. So
did you do $3.33?
No, my wife, me, and one of my friends all made accounts, and we agreed to
thought of that.
Yeah, so we already won we had France, Brazil, Argentina for the FIFA World Cup. So,
yeah, so I did 250. I had Argentina it was the 4 favorites other than England, Argentina.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Brazil and
obviously-
France and Germany,
Yeah.
maybe. But
Yeah.
but like they offered me $200 for my $10 bet on the Celtics today, and I took it. Not bonus bets, actual cash. So I took that.
Actually, speaking of which,
Good timing.
I know in
Yeah.
Las Vegas, I heard today that is it the same? Yeah, my beloved Nuggets. They're tied. They're tied favorites for the championship now, which is just like
that has to feel good.
I don't know. Does it? Like it's just
I don't know.
it's
You should always want to be favorites.
Why not?
Yeah, but like
they're tied with
it's
Philly
just-
on Sportsbet.
odds just reflect the public's perception of you. So like, just means you're playing well, and you are. So
That also means you'll get 4 home games in the best of 7 finals if you make it.
Only if we play Miami or so if we play Philly or Celtics, we don't. So
really?
Yeah, it goes off best record.
Yep.
Wow. So Philly finishing third had a better record than you guys finishing where you did.
Yeah,
first.
we were so far ahead in the West. We started resting players.
Okay. My bad.
Sorry, I always go off on NBA tangents. And
That's a strange way to do it. I would have thought just highest seed would have had the better advantage. But anyway,
That's a good way. I think it's a good way to do it, though. Really, like
surely
you
most
reward
wins make more
who had the
sense.
better season.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you play different teams as well more, but I don't know. Home ground advantage is massive for us. So, no offense, Bungo, because you're a Celtics. You and Rob are both Celtics fans. So
it's looking pretty dire, mate. So that's why I took the cash out today for a reason.
Can't believe they got towed as bad as they did, but anyway,
Pretty awful.
Back to rugby league. We've all tipped literally the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and Matt, I would assume you're
I'm
doing
not
the same.
not going to sit here and waste your time. I don't think it'll be as lopsided as $1.15 on Sportsbet suggests. I think Tigers will give a better account of themselves than that. But yeah, I think it'll be really
15.5 line. I mean,
it's a lot. It's a lot of points.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The boys are turning up and muscling up.
Yeah.
In defense, I just hope it's we put up a fight enough that it motivates people to get out to Leichhardt the following week and pack it out and have a bit of hope. If they get towed up, might keep people.
You compare it to the field goal win last year in the first time we played them, Josh. I mean, the South team is very similar to what it is that we're going to play this weekend, with the exception of Latrell wasn't there, and our team was pretty bad. Like we had a pretty bad team. And you look at our team this year, we've got a much better team. Souths have got the same players. Like I'd be like a little bit cocky if we had a good left centre. You know, like if I knew for sure Bateman's playing, I've still got my reservations about that, even though they've declared he's going to play. But if Bateman's there and Naden was there, I'd be like, let's give it a shake, because anything can happen. I
do agree that if, like in that game last year, if Souths complete at 60% and the Tigers complete at 95%, you will have a pretty good chance of winning. But hopefully Souths don't do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a miracle. Cowboys, Dragons, we've all gone the Cows. The Cows at home. You think we'll get it done?
What an awful game.
Well, that's actually good for us, isn't it? Because
if you win and the Dragons lose, you're off the bottom, right? So
we're tied on points with them now, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yep.
So,
but I don't think it's as lopsided as that. Obviously, I don't completely trust the Cowboys yet after just one really good performance. And in saying that, the Dragons as well have something to play for, with Ben Hunt playing game number 300, and they're going to live for that. But we all know what happened last time there was a 300th game milestone happening up at Queensland Country Bank Stadium, don't we, boys?
Remind me,
James Tarmos.
I don't know. They should just get rid of Griffin already. Like, it's pretty obvious he's going to go. I don't know.
It seems like they're just going through the motions until they get rid of him.
Yeah, and
they feel like us last year.
What's the go? Like, look at our game last weekend. They shifted Sullivan in during the game, who had a blinder, and Hunt did okay at hooker. And now they're starting with Hunt again at number 7. Like, did Sullivan not prove himself last weekend? Like, just make the change. Then you don't need Mbai and Little and all these guys. You can have a stronger bench. I don't understand their thinking. But anyway, like, that's their problem. They're as much a basket case as what we've been for a long time.
Raiders, Eels in the nation's capital Saturday night. It's going to be, man, that'd be bitterly cold. Shouts to one of my co-workers who's an Eels fan is driving down for that. So, yeah, Raiders at home, Eels without Moses. Seems pretty simple. I mean, Canberra can't be overly trusted, but I think they'll.
I don't think it's simple, Josh, but I've tipped Canberra, but that's a hard game as well. That could go either way.
Knights Titans, literally $1.90 each in this one. They've all gone Knights. They're my instinct is home ground for these ones.
And a week off.
Nice home. The week off helps.
Of course,
that was my reasoning.
Oh, they went to Bali, didn't they?
Only one guy there. Only Bradman
Best. Yeah.
Oh, so it was only Bradman Best. So my mate last week, who we had on for the Dragons, he made it out as if they all went to Bali. It was literally just Bradman Bet. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's because like 95% of people don't read beyond headlines in stories, which is why we get to these points.
Exactly.
And I didn't even read the headline. I got the headline off a mate.
We're at the point of the season now where the buys are sort of more of an advantage than a disadvantage, because it was those first few rounds where you'd like play a game or play 2 games, have a week off, and then get back into it. Where the buys don't really do all that much for you. But at this point of the season now, over a third of the way through it, the teams having the buys haven't had one yet. So like the Dolphins with the buy this week, for example, they've played 10 straight games, and now a buy comes at like a really good time for them. So and that's kind of my leaning. That's why I'm leaning towards the Knights. It's because the buys are more of an advantage now, and they're going to be especially more of an advantage, particularly through the origin period.
Is that why the Dragons were tied last? Because they had the bye first up?
Yeah. Well, they're the only team that's had 2 wins like us.
Sharks Manly, the last one, the old tied grand final rivalry from 1978? Yeah, 1978. They replayed that grand final, didn't they?
Yeah, replayed on the Tuesday, and I think it was something like, I don't know, 16-0 or 22-0 or something like that, yeah.
The AFL did that a few years ago too, didn't they? They had a tie.
It was 2008 or 2010, something like that.
That was
St
Collingwood
Kilda versus Collingwood. Yeah. I thought they were joking. I messaged my mate who watches AFL. I'm like, what happens now? He's like, they come back next week. I'm like, okay, dickhead, what actually happens? And no.
Extra time. Played extra temp.
I think they got rid of it as well after that game, I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure. It's not my sport, but I'm fairly confident that
I was going to say they had a tied grand final when we had our tied grand finals back in the 70s. I'm pretty sure Collingwood and might have been North Melbourne. I think they had a tied grand final as well in one of the years because we had back-to-back years in 1977 and 78 where we had replays in both grand finals.
It's just insane.
Yeah, I just looked it up. They changed it a couple of years after that. They have extra time now. So
how do you organise a grand final in a week in 6 days?
It's the most insane thing I've ever. I could not believe that's a relic that you read from like, you know, the pre-professionalized era. Yeah, exactly. Not 2010 or whatever it was. Like, my goodness.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for there to be a grand final replay, especially if you've got like a extra time or whatever for a finals match. Because I remember, I think it might have been 2017. There was a qualifying final or an elimination final between Port Adelaide and West Coast that ended up going to extra time, even though they have like draws during the season. And I couldn't imagine saying, okay, so we're going to have extra time for this this final game, but for a grand final, you blokes are coming back next week and doing it all over again.
What happens if someone gets put on report? They have to replay it. They don't play the replay.
That's a good point. That's a good point. They'd have a quick judiciary hearing.
Absolutely.
But imagine playing a grand final 3 days later after the original grand final.
It's just there's so many reasons for it to just be.
I think Manly are really bad at the moment. I'm going to take Cronulla. I know they lost last week, but you know, whatever.
Well, this might be my downfall. I tip Manly at Brookie. Tommy is playing. Is named
at half.
Yeah, I think the Sharks have a horrendous record against Manly for the most part as well. I think like their fans always talk about it. They like very, very rarely beat Manly, especially Brookvale. So maybe you're onto something.
Yeah, it's just Manly Brookvale. I don't know. It's just one of those. They just lift that little bit more. Maybe because the West Tigers literally never win. We haven't won there. I think Benji led us to a win a few years ago, but apart from that, we never seem to win there. So maybe just in my head, Manly at Brookie are better than they actually are. But I went Manly. So Patreon questions, we actually don't have any. If anyone's got a question for Matt, feel free to drop one in the comments. But patreon.com/WestsLife. Also patreon.com/NRL Boom Rookies. Is that your link as well, Matt? If you want to support their show as well, join their Discord as well, which is great fun. Talk all sorts of bloody like everything NRL. I'm really enjoying there's a parenting Discord now. You're obviously not overly active.
I muted that one the day I created it.
A lot of us dads talking dad stuff, and then I went the footy with Mario Siegs, who we obviously had on before the Manly show. So great way to meet fellow footy fans and make friends as well. So check out the guys, and you guys do a whole episode, which we probably should do for our members as well. You do the question time on Patreon as well, so you get a whole extra episode with them too. So check out them as well. Shane, you didn't send us your rant, so we have a different tier. They get their rant on each episode. Shane didn't send us one for tonight, but
the Sharks have won 6 out of 48 at Brookvale, by the way.
Jesus,
wow. That's a shocker.
I thought we sucked there.
Yeah, that's South in Melbourne areas almost.
We just sucked against the Roosters.
Doesn't Latrell have like a really good record against you guys as well? Doesn't he traditionally score a lot of tries? Wasn't there one game he had for the Roosters where like the papers the next day like he's the best player of all time because he scored quite a few tries? I can't remember. I might be wrong on that.
We make everyone look good against us. I mean, you were mentioning that Reece Wester game. You'll remember the guy's name, but you had a debutant that night, scored like 3 tries.
Scored a hat trick.
Scored a hat trick in his debut.
Best game of his career.
It was like the best game of his life. And I didn't do much after. I think he went to St George later on, and that was about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think the only one we really have is Jonathan Thurston never beat us in Sydney. That's
wild. That's a wild stat.
Yeah, one of the greatest.
It's a funny old game, rugby league. Our next show will be Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Join us on YouTube and Facebook again as we review. Hopefully, not too big of a loss. Who knows? Maybe another.
Come on, give us a go. We've got to have a 10% chance. Give us a go. Don't write us off. Don't write us off, mate. It might get ugly, but it might not. Have a bit of
the way this season's gone, by the way. Like, there's just been upsets every week. Everyone can beat everyone this season.
True.
Like, I mean,
we beat Penrith.
Like, you guys,
so.
Mate, I'm sure on your Penrith preview 2 weeks ago, you were saying very similar things. So,
I think we did.
Probably. Steph, Clem, Abby, Papa. Let's roll them through the middle, boys.
Players there.
There's enough there.
Absolutely.
Matt, thank you so much it was kind of last minute that we got you on for this episode.
Anytime.
Absolutely. As I said, NRL Boom Rookies is literally my favorite NRL podcast out there.
You are very kind.
So check them out on all the podcast apps, wherever you listen to us as well, I guess. And as always, guys, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the WestsLife podcast. Please follow us at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and facebook.com/WestsLifePod. You can also support and take part in the show at patreon.com/WestsLife, and give us a subscribe on YouTube and turn notifications on. We'll see you again next time on another episode of the WestsLife podcast.